Education was never a priority in my family. As girls, we were expected to get married, that's it. You may find it hard to believe, but that's how Kavitha, my guest for today, began telling me her story. And I'll be honest, it hit me because I know so many women who were told the same thing, that their dreams were too much, that their role was to stay quiet, stay small, and stay in line. But Kavitha didn't. She went from a small town in India where girls are expected to settle to becoming a lead data engineer in the US. And she pursued her master's degree at the age of 30 after a 10-year gap in education, and today she's helping thousands of others to do the same. And in the episode today of From a Woman to a Leader, we talk about how Kavitha turned a student visa into a full-time job, paid just $5,000 for her entire degree by planning strategically, built a 100,000 followers, I think it's growing every day, on Instagram. Her community is called Careers with Kavitha, where she gives away free resume tips, LinkedIn optimization strategies, and job search guidance. And she's empowering other women and building an NGO to support education and opportunity for children and women in India. This is just a story of ambition. It's a story of resilience, resourcefulness, and rising for others once you find your way. So hi everyone, for those who don't know me, my name is Limor Bergman-Gross. I'm a former director of engineering and for the past 5 years, a coach for women in tech who want to step into leadership without losing themselves along the way. If you ever felt like the odds stacked against you, or if you're just looking for real practical tools to take control of your tech careers, you have come to the right place, and I think this episode is for you. So, are you ready to hear and meet the unstoppable Kavitha? I assure you, your heart will be full and your notebook will be too. So let's dive right in. Hi Kavitha, welcome.
More, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, no complaints other than waiting for the holiday break. Other than that,
so much hear you. So waiting for the big Christmas break there. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I'm doing great, and I'm super excited to hear, to talk with you today. I think it's gonna help a lot of other women. And let's kind of go into your journey. I mean, maybe a little bit you can share about your background in India, growing in India, and how you realized like you wanted to pursue a career in tech. So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I come from a very humble upbringing. I would say I'm from a middle class family, and we are three sisters. So majority of women in the house.
Yeah.
And education was the least priority. Trust me.
Okay.
In my family, because it was thought that okay, the final aim is that you get married, and that's what it is. I mean, that's where you see the women population in STEM is very less, because girls back then and even now we see that we have very less population when compared to men, because they are not given opportunity. So I come from such background, but then what I was witnessed is India has great importance for education, and it allows you to thrive through if you're really making an impact, getting good scores. So I was a class topper at my school, so that was something which shaped my career. So but then since I come from that humble background where the schooling was not up top notch, or where English was not given much preference in my school, because we used to speak in our own mother tongue. So my biggest fears were the communication barrier and also the stage fear. I was very reluctant to talk to any strangers, being thinking if I'll be judged, if I have good vocabulary skills, and what if I put through in a different meaning, and what if I am being judged, right? So there are moments where I've frozen in the group discussion and things like that. So that's where I thought that okay, this is not the way. I have to work through my communication skill, and I took that as a setback, as an opportunity, and started learning English practicing, because that's the only way you can get good communication skills. So my upbringing, again, from my mother, who is my greatest inspiration, she instilled me the resilience to learn, improve, and constantly upskill. And she always wanted us three girls to make it big. Yeah, that's a very short brief about me. But then today, I'm proud to say that I am a cloud data engineer with 13 years of IT experience. Alongside, I have a master degree from Illinois State University in information technology. And also, I come from a background where my mom has always instilled that we have to give back to the community. So
Yeah.
that's always been in my mind. I mean, it's not just that you succeed, you have to see that the people around you succeed. So that's where I started my Instagram handle, and I'm lucky to say that I have around 37, almost 3K followers on
Wow.
Instagram. And yeah, that I feel a proud moment, and where I kind of help the professionals like me who lack the guidance, be it with communication skill or be it with the interview, job search strategies, and many more on my Instagram handle. That's a
I'm
very
not a
short.
big Instagram users, but that's very impressive, and how you give back, right, to others and help them
Thank you.
navigate the tech sphere. Tell us, Kavitha, for our listeners, you said you grew up in India in a very kind of humble background. What inspired you kind of to move to the US and pursue a master degree? I'm sure it has been not an easy, straightforward decision.
Yeah, it was definitely not. So I got my first lead of, I was, as I mentioned, I was a class topper with my 10th grade PU, I mean, the 12th grade, and as well as in my engineering. So I secured an on campus job, and through that, I also happened to travel to England and Scotland. So I had that exposure of working with worldwide clients. And alongside, but this was always on my top of my mind that I have to secure a master degree. It was my long-term aspiration, but never got a chance, because as soon as my I pursued my undergraduation, I got a job, and I really had to get back to look after my family financially. But this was always on my mind. And then came a time where I had good enough of experience. I had 5+ of years of experience in IT. And I had the luxury to take a break because I was financially stable. And I was like, yes, maybe this is a time that I have to pursue my long time aspiration. If not now, then when? So I did my master degree at the age of 30 with a huge education gap of almost 10 years. So it was a great opportunity. Same time, a bit overwhelming because I was completely away from, the academics and
Yeah.
work through. But I thought having this master degree would definitely help me get better opportunities at the world of arena spread in US.
What was the average age, by the way, of your of the students in? Because you mentioned you were 30, so what was the kind of the average age of
Usually
master?
they are between 21 to say 25, but there are students who very rarely, say 10 to 20% maybe, who really wants to come up and do their master degree or PhD as such at the age of 30 plus. So
Okay, so most of them were much younger than you and they
hmm
had less
hmm
experience,
yep, yep,
obviously.
yep. They
And I
were
remember,
just out of their undergraduation, I would say.
yeah, yeah. How has that been for you? Like being kind of different than others? I mean, at least in terms of age. How was that experience for you?
I kind of had an upper hand because I came with that industrial experience. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I would say for other master degree who wants to pursue their master degree in US or any other country. I always suggest them to come with some industrial experience. That would help them shape better because they'll be able to articulate better what they're learning in the master degree, which is up way above with the major studies or the major course that you've taken up. For instance, I did my master's in information technology, so I come from the background where I've worked in IT as a developer. So whatever courses were taught me there, I could understand better because I had seen the production data. I could visualize as to how the data works through. So that really helped. And the second thing is I knew how to, kind of showcase myself or tailor my resume to the job description or stand out when I produce my resume or the LinkedIn profile to the recruiter. So That was one thing which many students lack, because they come from directly, they join from their undergraduation, and all they know that is that they have to be scoring very good. They should be having 100% GPA, or 95% GPA, and all they would be only concentrating is getting that GPA. But that's not all. I guess when we are doing a master degree, our focus should be learning practically. That's where the visa comes, called a curriculum practical visa, which the US provides to the students who are coming on a student visa. So that's something that I really learned and had an upper hand.
So, what tips would you give to maybe students like yourself that came from India or for different countries that they should do? I mean, I know that you mentioned in our pre-call something about a visa. So, what kind of tips will you give them?
Sure. So many students, as I mentioned, they only think about CGPA. That's not the whole thing. What they should be thinking while getting a permit for a university is how well they negotiate with the university. Say a person A has two permits, university X and university Y. So it's again a negotiation technique there. You'll have to find out and figure out which university can give you a better assistantship. So there are three types of assistantship: graduation assistantship, research assistantship, and teaching assistantship. So any of the assistantship, even if you avail it for 10 hours a week, it will give you a 70% waiver on the tuition fee. 70% is huge, because to complete a 2 years master degree in a tier 2 university would easily take up to $60,000. I would say less inclusive of the living expense. Just the tuition fee would take up to $50,000 to $60,000. So just imagine if you are able to take off that 70% off the $50,000 to $60,000, you would be spending only say 20,000 or less than that. So that's a huge win-win, because when you're not financially burdened, you can use the same expense to upskill yourself. Maybe you can take a Udemy subscription, or maybe you can avail all those interesting courses being given from the FANG companies such as Google, Microsoft. You'll be able to afford better, and also comes a peace of mind that you get, that you can spend that money for something better. So I would always suggest them to always make sure that they have assistantship covered, or any kind of scholarship covered. Even that is good. There are multiple universities which provide scholarship based on their GRE score or the TOEFL score, IELTS score, etc. If you're good at negotiating, you should definitely do that, and then start your career then start your graduation as a master's professional. The second thing is, yes, they have to focus on their resume building. It's not just about scoring the CGPA. They have to start working themselves from the day one towards internship. The CPT visa that I was mentioning, it's called curriculum practical training. Yes, that is what it is called as. So this visa allows the students to gain that practical knowledge via internships, or via jobs on campus. They cannot be working off campus for the first year, but then they can start working in their own university career service section, maybe, or there are different sections in the university, or project management or data analyst. So such roles are there even on the campus. So they can start applying to them as part of CPT, but there is a trick there. On CPT visa, professional cannot work more than 11 months. So that is something they should be very mindful of, because it will impact the rest of the STEM visa otherwise. But then this 11 months is also gold. So I'm very proud to say that since I could understand what this CPT visa is, I was able to secure a full-time job at State Farm Insurance as part of my 4th semester. So I kind of, wrapped up my credits as much as possible in the first 3 semesters. I 16 credits sometimes in a couple of semesters, where I could think that I could handle. Sorry, I mean to say 12 credits, 4 courses in each semester. So that way I was able to finish major credits in my by the end of 3rd semester. And the 4th semester and the summer vacation, I completely concentrated on utilizing the CPT visa. So my master degree was a completely well-planned, articulated approach that I worked through. I worked as part of summer internship, 40 hours a week as a full-time employee to State Farm Insurance, and also my last semester. So with all this said, as I mentioned, these are the opportunities that every student has. So one is assistantship, which would reduce the fee by 70%, and the second thing is internship. Companies pay you very well when you're on internship. They pay you between $20 to $30, and that is also huge for a professional who's learning masters. So with all of these said, I think I only spent only $5,000 to complete my entire master degree. So that's something.
Those are incredible tips, and so I guess the biggest takeaway I'm learning here is just to plan ahead and know
Yes.
what you can get, and also
Yes.
being very industry focused, not just about the grades, but also about the experiences, right? I mean, to get the industry experience like you had.
Exactly, Limo. Yes.
And tell us about kind of how you went into what you do today, transition
Okay.
into working in the US and your roles in data engineering.
Yep. So I started my career here in US as a data engineer, as a cloud data engineer. So what instilled me was my master degree course on AWS and several cloud related topics. So those were fun to learn. So that's where I decided that I have to move from legacy mainframe, where I had my Indian exposure, to data engineer, because data engineers are in great demand in today's world. I did post this on my LinkedIn. Just take an example of the Times Square, right? The New York Times Square. We see so many dazzling billboards there, isn't it? I mean, how does it work? When I stood there, I was so proud of myself that I am somewhere there behind it. Because I write such data pipelines where we cleanse the data, we work through the data, and we provide valuable business insights to the business stakeholders. So that's what we data engineers do. And with the cloud being enabled, we have scalability, we have a great source of storage, scalability. When there are festive season, yes, you can scale up to any number. And when there is no festival season, maybe you can scale down. So all of this happens instantly. So the world that we are in with the AI driven, I was more fascinated to learn how the cloud integrates with AI, or how the data engineering warehouses integrates with AI. So I started learning, upskilling myself, and with my master degree, which was a huge help too, I have been working with State of Massachusetts currently with Eiling Solutions, and that's where I was like, okay, I know a couple of things. I know how to start as a data engineer now, because I had jot down a roadmap for myself, what skills to learn, where to start with, where do we need the strong foundation. For instance, it could be SQL. SQL is what we breathe in and out. So if one knows SQL well, I guess they can for sure clear their interview for any data driven job at major league. So be it data scientist, data engineer, data analyst, or business analyst. I would say less of business analyst. These three job roles, data analyst, data scientist, or data engineer, having a strong SQL foundation is a must. Same with goes with Python. So I jot down a roadmap, and I started teaching students through my Instagram webinar classes, free webinar classes, and also providing them free sources to learn from through Udemy, Coursera. Many students do not know that Coursera provides 90% of fee waiver. If you're a student, you can go under financial assistance mode, and for selected courses, for instance, Google data analytics course is almost of say $500 on Coursera. So using financial assistance for a student, taking that student aid, one can avail it for less than 90%. So that's a huge hit. And this course is a 6-month duration course, which helps you end-to-end learning what a data analyst does, with some industrial experience, with some hands-on experience. So such things is what I started guiding my followers, and I know for sure that I absolutely started loving my content, because these are a couple of things which not everybody would know until unless there is somebody to guide, So that's where I also lacked my initial years. I did not have a proper guidance. I had to struggle through it. I didn't want my other professionals to do that. And that's where I started helping my university friends. And then I thought that, okay, I can make this big, not just limited to my college friends, maybe help through Instagram with a wide audience, and probably they love my content, and I see that I'm growing well, and I'm very happy with the community service that I'm
This
able
is
to do.
incredible. Yeah. I mean, the fact that you've been able to kind of start helping your colleagues and then start like on Instagram and grow into more than 90,000 followers and help so many people. This is very
You're very
inspiring
humble to say that.
and kind of aligned with the values that you got from home, right? Of giving back.
Yeah. So
That's incredible.
so my mother and my husband are my great supporters. So they always like, I know it's not easy. And again, I come from a background where I have a child who is 9 year old. I'm a full-time employee, and it's never easy to work through social media and sit through, produce those documents or run through those webinars. It takes a lot of support, and my biggest backbone is my husband here, who helps me with the course so that I can concentrate on my aspirations, my real time aspirations, and in
Wonderful. And kind of, one common thread that I hear from you is really about being strategic, and both in your master degree and when you started working is trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to learn? And also utilizing resources that you can for either free or very low cost, and knowing what resources are available for you and how can you kind of upskill yourself with a very tight budget.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And one other thing I really want to mention is about the LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a digital resume. Many
Yeah.
wouldn't look at it that way. So we wouldn't get active on LinkedIn unless we are in need of a job. So that's what even I've done. And I don't complain there. So we all do that. We don't understand the power of a resource until we
We
need it.
need it, yeah.
So I see that many professionals, they don't even have say 500 connections, valuable connections on their LinkedIn, and they don't understand that this is such a powerful tool. If you can have those, if you build those connections over years with recruiters, with your alumni, with the university peers, or with the job roles that you've been constantly working on. So it is gold. I mean, LinkedIn is a gold mine where you can utilize it anytime, and it requires persistence and resilience here to build that network, not just in day one. It cannot happen overnight. It has to be built with resilience here, and it takes efforts, but it is always helpful. So I landed my first job again with State Farm. That was using a referral code. So many do not understand that referral code plays a very huge role. So whenever a job, this is what I've heard from a recruiter. So whenever a job posting happens on net or on LinkedIn or the job portal, it first goes through the employees within the company. They do ask the employees, if you know anybody, can you refer to this job role. So half of the job roles get filled within the company itself with the resourceful employees. So if you have connection with such resourceful employees, so you're in the upper hand of getting details of those the job openings. So that is one. And the second thing is, whenever a professional applies to a job, they should always make sure that they apply through referral code. It helps hugely. So with the referral code, I've seen that even if the professional performs average, they're still given an upper hand because you come from a very loyal employee and they believe you because of the employee who has been serving them for long. So the technical aspects doesn't matter, the other aspects doesn't matter, but what matters is you come from a very loyal, trustworthy resource within the company. So having a referral code has helped huge, and I have been giving a big shout out for LinkedIn, asking them to ask for referral code, how to utilize the tips and tricks on LinkedIn. I've hosted several webinars to help them with tips and tricks, how to ask for referral code, what referral template to use. And if they really potentially use this powerful tool, having a job, their dream job, isn't difficult for sure.
Yeah, this is, I completely agree with you. I mean, when I moved to the US, I didn't know anyone, and I started utilizing LinkedIn. And after I found my first job, also through a referral, I actually didn't have to look for a job again, ever again.
Wow.
Like, because I nurtured my profile and the network, and eventually I just got reached out. So I think that most people, when I see that they got it wrong, is that they, as you said, like they create a profile and just forget about it and never use it until they need to find a job. And it's much, much better to nurture it and keep expanding your network. As you said, like, why 500? Why not? Why not thousands of people? I mean, that's at least me. I mean, I know a lot of people that are really, I mean, they don't want to connect with anyone they don't know. Even,
they're shy. Maybe
even not shy,
judgmental.
they are afraid that people will spam them, so they block their profile.
Yeah.
So you have to know their email in order to send them. And I respect that, but I have a different view of, like, yeah, if someone is spamming you, you can always block them. You can also always remove them.
Yeah.
But you gain so much more by opening up and networking with others, and then you can not just land jobs, you can do so much, right? You can help others, you can find resources. I mean, it opens so many opportunities for you.
Reading through the post of others itself, I have gained so much as to where I should learn, what I should learn. I've been saving so many documents that these influencers post. So, and I must say, Lemore, you have a great journey too. I am so inspired learning about you. That's where I'm on the podcast when I reached out to you. I'm very humbled the way you've been doing with your past podcast, helping the women, empowering them with these inspiring stories. And I guess somebody should do a podcast of you too. You have such an amazing journey that you work full time, and then you're doing this incredible work to give back to the society again. So we are no different here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kavitha. I really appreciate it. And I do that because I also, and I assume you too, like, I greatly enjoy it. Like, giving back is such a joy. So I assume that what you do on Instagram, you don't do it just to give back. You actually enjoy what you're doing. And I feel the same way. I feel exactly the same way as you do. And yeah, I do talk as a guest at podcast. I used to do that more.
It's not an easy job.
I used to do it more, but I don't have time. So I kind of, I don't get interviewed a ton, but I do that once in a while. And before we end today, Kavitha, I wanted just to ask you, like, what's next for you? What's on your vision moving forward?
So my vision, I guess I kind of have settled down with my professional life, but then what is on my mind is that I increase my my work towards community. I want to reach out to more people and make some difference to their life, because I'm mostly women. So when I have two people approaching, I would always give preference to women, because I always believe that a woman educated is the whole family educated. So my primary focus is on women. And also I have started working on my NGO with the Instagram. I was happy to start my NGO, which focuses more on children education, women empowerment. So I'm working towards it. And also, if I can change even a single life with a career opportunity, I guess I'm blessed. I feel blessed. So I'm working
so
on
much
those.
relate to that, Kavitha. I mean, I always say I'm helping one woman at a time.
Wow. Yeah. So and when you do that, just one woman, I guess the whole family is helped there. Seriously.
For sure. And help can be small to big. It could be just connecting her with someone or giving her some tip that will change something for her. And I think that when you make small steps, every small step, eventually it becomes something huge. I really believe in that.
Very true. Very true. You're so absolutely right. Indeed. Indeed.
So thank you so much, Kavitha. Before we end, so obviously people can find you on Instagram. I'll put that, your handle.
Great. Thank you so much.
And where else are you active? On LinkedIn, you mentioned?
I am very active on LinkedIn than Instagram. I'm more active on LinkedIn, where I provide free resources to learn from. Chat sheets, which are very valuable during interview. And I also provide interview question and answers. All of these free resources for the major skills for the data-driven jobs. So I've been very active on LinkedIn. Any professionals need any kind of help, they can text me on LinkedIn. I'm very happy to help them through.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Kavitha. It was a pleasure speaking with you today.
Likewise, Limor, likewise. I hope to meet you more often and work through anything that you think we can do together to empower women or the professionals around us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Limor. I absolutely loved the session and the podcast. It was
Yeah.
great talking to you.
Thank you so much for listening to the episode with Kavitha. And before you go, I have a little favor to ask. If today's episode sparked something in you, please take a moment to rate, share, and subscribe to From a Woman to a Leader. It helps more women in tech find the support and inspiration they need to thrive. And don't miss the next week episode with Rodna Parker Taylor. We dive deep into emotional intelligence and how it can be the true game changer for leadership, influence, and success. And Rhonda went from flunking kindergarten to leading global EQ research at the United Nations. Her story is powerful, and trust me, you'll walk away with practical steps to become a more emotionally intelligent and resilient leader. So stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.